senior Tories have warned against another round of damaging infighting after former Cabinet Minister Sir Simon Clarke called for Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, to be replaced as leader to avoid what he has called a Conservative massacre at the general election.
Yes, it was strong stuff from Sir Simon. Home Secretary James Cleverly said it would be foolish to have further dissent within the party. Meanwhile, former Defence Secretary Ben Wallace said division and another Prime Minister would lead to the certain loss of power.
Meanwhile, at Prime Minister's questions a bit earlier today, Sir Keir Starmer criticised the government over their latest round of infighting.
Party first, country second, safely ensconced in Westminster, they get down to the real business of fighting each other to death. The country forced to endure their division and chaos, the longest episode of EastEnders ever put to film. Meanwhile, this week we discover that Britain is going to be the only major economy that no longer makes its own steel. That the government is handing out £500 million to make 3,000 steelworkers redundant. And that the parents of thousands are being told that his free childcare promise is nothing but a mirage. Isn't he embarrassed that the Tory party is yet again entirely focused on itself?
But he wants to talk about these things. Even his own party are now realising that he simply doesn't have a plan for this country, Mr. Speaker. The member for Dagenham and Raynham said it's difficult to identify the purpose of his leadership. And long-time celebrity backer Steve Coogan recently said he licks his finger, sticks it in the air and just sees which way the wind is blowing. Even Labour Party know, Mr. Speaker, he's not a leader, he is a human weather vane.
Well, there we go, a bit of back and forth in the chamber. Now, the Labour leader also criticised the Prime Minister's childcare plan, and once again he called into question the stability of the Conservative Party and Sunak's position.
That isn't a plan. And families across the country, well, they can laugh all they like. Families are making plans now. They laugh at it, of course they do. Families are struggling with a cost of living crisis, trying to work out the household budget, balancing spiralling mortgages, prices and eye-watering bills. And then at the last minute, they're thrown into chaos because their nursery says they can't deliver the free childcare he promised. Now, he calls that a practical issue. But I preferred the honesty of whichever of his colleagues briefed to the Times that it was, and I quote, a complete show. Who was it who briefed that?
Gosh, language, Sir Keir.
Also, why did he turn slightly common then when he was like, "Who was it? Who was it?" Where did that come from?
You know, it's sort of, you know, he wants to look like.
Talking of EastEnders, he sounded like he was Peggy Mitchell behind the bar. Who was it? Anyway,
a bit harsh on Peggy Mitchell.
Let's now speak to GB News political editor Christopher Hope, who's in Westminster. Christopher, you tweeted some time ago saying that Simon Clarke's attempts to oust Rishi Sunak, according to senior Tory figures you'd spoken to, seems to have fizzled out already. One figure told you this coup won't have lasted 24 hours. Is it dead in the water already?
Yeah, is he looking a bit silly, Christopher?
It does feel he's gone about this the wrong way. I mean, the letter he wrote last night talked about in January. We're still in January. The letter felt like it was a letter to go out probably after the possible double by-election defeat for the Tory party on February the 15th at the Kingswood and Wellingborough by-elections. And then that'll be looking back on this event called the Popular Conservatism Rally, where Simon Clarke was a key speaker alongside Liz Truss, Jacob Rees-Mogg, our colleague at GB News, and Ranil Jayawardena. That's on the 6th of February. Instead, he's gone early with his letter, and it's kind of jeopardised other things. So I understand this Popular Conservatism event, other speakers now may be forced to pull out, because it now looks like it's some kind of alternative Tory party resistance plan or something against Rishi Sunak. I mean, it seems the wrong way round. And the strategy here, if it is to destabilise the PM, has been a bit wobbly. Having said that, I did get a text last night on my WhatsApps, which was, let me tell you, was alive last night with Tory MPs. Many MPs saying, what on earth is Clarke up to? But another one also quite interesting said that one idea being mooted at the moment is a Newt Gingrich-style 100-day contract with Britain. Now, that goes back to Newt Gingrich, who was the Republican senator back in 1994, published a contract with America ahead of the November midterms and the Republicans party ran away to victory. So the idea is that someone like Penny Mordaunt could be installed as Prime Minister. She has a quick 100 days, then an election. This is the kind of thing I'm hearing. I mean, there's no real credibility to it. That no one really thinks that Rishi Sunak will be replaced. It is in the minds of some on the right, maybe some Trussites, some supporters of Liz Truss think it, Borisites, Boris Johnson supporters, but otherwise, you know, it is a bit fanciful. I did think, looking back at that PMQ's that PMQ's, Sunak was very defensive. He basically went through the greatest hits of all the things you can say about Keir Starmer in about 5 minutes, just to try and show his team behind him that he's in charge.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, there may be some logic to wanting to replace Rishi Sunak. He's not exactly polling well, is he? But I can't help but think, for most people watching, it just looks like, well, it just looks ridiculous. You can't change the leader again without a general election immediately, surely.
No, I mean, it'd be the third or fourth one since 2019, fourth one since 2019. Yeah, I mean, it nuts, really. I think, having said that, would Labour rather face Penny Mordaunt or Rishi Sunak at the election? I think they'd prefer Sunak. I think Mordaunt does worry them. She does connect, and she will be a worry for Labour. I think that is understood. And she, of course, she narrowly lost out, didn't she, to Liz Truss, and then tried to do a deal, or tried to do something with fought Sunak and failed to get the number of MPs required to enter that ballot in October 22. I think that's an idea. I don't think it will last. Time is running out, and most serious people in the party are saying they need to knuckle down and get behind the PM now.